Are you wondering if you can survive in the basic amount that is there in Canada? Well, if that is your question, this is the video that you must be watching today. My name is Sahil and I have a list of expenses right here. After spending about 1.5 years in Canada, I am in a good shape to tell you that if those $14 an hour are enough for you to spend your struggle period while in Canada, or maybe your time as a student in Canada. Please be tuned in till the end of this video, and I'm going to share a host of expenses and the way people spend their lives in Canada. So guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sahil and I am in Ontario right now. I'm living in Brampton and I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. So a lot of my followers, a lot of my friends have been asking me a question that the basic salary in Ontario is about $14, but is it enough? So this video today is all about that particular question, that is it enough? So of course, the basic question revolves around the basic survival only, that whether the $14 an hour is enough to make sure that you cross this particular period, and then once you're earning good enough salary, you can live a lavish life. But then today I have this list and I'm going to share all these expenses one by one with you, so that you get a fair bit of idea that if is it enough to have that live in that $14 an hour period, be it for a shorter period of time, or for students it can be a little longer. But then we'll answer that question today. But guys, first, if you are new to this channel, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. This particular video and all the other videos are all about Canada. We talk about immigration, we talk about news updates and all the vlogs and the lifestyle in Canada. So if you are eager to come to Canada, or if you are eager to know more about Canada, this particular channel is for you. And if you are an existing subscriber, I'd like to thank you, and please like this video and share this video with your friends. So guys, let's start this video without further ado. Well, when I came in Canada about 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago, I came in February 2019. I made a video which gained quite a lot of traction. But back then I was pretty new, and my expenses that I had calculated were from a novice point of view. But today in this in this particular video, I'm going to share a host of experiences that I've had over the last 1.5 years. And since I was studying, I was a student also for quite a lot of time. I was a student for over 1.5 years, 1 year precisely. And then after spending all that time, and I was the only bread earner, because my kid is young and my wife was just taking this time to take care of my kid. He's now turned 3. She was about to join work, but then because of this COVID, it's been delayed. But then for now, I'm in a good shape to tell you that being the sole bread earner, and then earning while as a student, if you're earning something that is close to even though I managed to earn from different sources, but then even if you're a sole bread earner, if you're earning about $14 an hour, can you survive? So based on my experiences, the first biggest and the major expense that you have while on while on the Canadian soil is the housing expense. So what I have here is, before we go ahead in the bifurcation of the expenses, so what I've done is that I've created 3 buckets. One is for a student or a single guy who's in Canada. Second will be a couple, making sure that both the people are earning enough. Okay. By earning enough, I mean they're working 40 hours a week. Now the third category, or the third bucket, will be a family like ours. I've taken this bucket to be of 3 people. One is a small kid, and then there are 2 individuals who can be working full time, or maybe split hours. But then for the calculation's sake, I have taken that both of them are working, whereas one is working for about 60 hours a week, which is quite natural, quite normal. People work here overtime because that's how they actually make money. For the couple, I've taken both of them are working about 40 hours a week. And then for the student, I've taken that he's going to be working about 20 hours a week, which is legally allowed by the Canadian immigration authorities. And then during the 4 months break, the student will be working for around 60 hours, which is quite natural and normal that students do work. In fact, I have come across a lot of students who have been working double shifts during those 4 months. So working 60 hours a week, I think back home in our countries, we have been used to working for over 60 hours a week, which is nothing. So you know, we are, I mean, I was used to working 60 hours, so I'm fine, and it is totally variable and depends upon person to person. But for calculation's sake, I've taken the student to be working 20 hours a week. For the couple, both of them are working 40 hours each, and then the family, one of them is working 40 hours and then taking care of the baby, and the other family member is working for 60 hours a week. Now guys, the first expense will be the house. Now I can show you what kind of house am I living right now. I can just quickly mold the camera and show you. So this is where I live currently. I'm not sure if you can see. Yeah, so I'm living at the ground floor. This is my French window, and that's the bedroom that you're seeing right over there. And then there's a basement downstairs as well. It is not furnished and nobody's living there. So for now I'm living in a ground floor. I was fortunate enough to get this. I am paying $1,400 for this particular place. Okay, now what I've done is I'll first talk about the buckets separately and make sure that you can get a good reference. Now how students live in houses is basically they generally go ahead and share with each other, right? So not every student is looking for a house that is to an individual. So we're talking about basic expenses living, right? Basic living, nothing too fancy, nothing over the top. So this is how we're going to calculate, right? If you can afford more, definitely you can think of, you know, adding more expenses, but then I'm talking about basic survival expenses. For student, while they're sharing rooms with their roommates, they spend around 500 to 800, but I've taken an average of $600. So that is I'm going to talk about the first bucket now, the student. Okay, so for a student it'll be $600. For a couple, for a house like this, like I just showed you where I'm living, you can easily get a basement for about $1,200 to $1,400. That's pretty easy. Within $1,400 there's in fact I'm living in a very good locality. This is up north Brampton, not exactly North Brampton, but north East Brampton. So this is a very good place. I have all the major banks and everything nearby. The plaza is just on a walking distance, not more than 5 minutes. So this particular area, I happened to visit another basement the other day that was just $1,400, all inclusive, all utilities, everything including the internet, $1,400. And like I am also paying $1,400, but that was a proper basement. I am paying $1,400 for a ground floor. They were charging $1,400 for a basement, including utilities and a separate washer, like separate laundry, right? And there was 2 bedrooms. So it is good enough. Like I said, survival, it's definitely good enough. But if you're a family also, I've taken it to be a little more. I've taken the expense to be about $1,600 for a walkout basement. So for something like this where I'm living, you should be looking at $1,600. This is I'm paying less for this house because I know these people while through, you know, through some mutual friends. So they were kind enough to rent out this place to us for that cheap. But then it is not possible for everybody to get something like this. But then I've heard people take walkout basement for $1,200 as well. So my friend's friend, who's currently living in Mississauga, is paying $1,200 for a walkout basement. So always remember, I know it can be a little tough for people. People are paying a lot of money for the houses, but if you are, you know, well informed, you're making the right decisions and you're finding at the right places like Facebook Marketplace, you can definitely get a good deal. So always have your eyes up. Well, you talk about grocery now. For students, the grocery that you're looking at it as about $200. Well, grocery for students, it's usually shared. They cook at home. They're not into cooking food for their families. You know, for families, it is generally heavy cooking, but for students, it's not that heavy. So I've taken for $200 for students. For a couple, it'll be double. It's going to be $400 and not more than that. It's decent and good enough. You can get as much milk, chicken, and you know, cottage cheese, everything at home. It's not at all a big deal. You can go for veggies also. We get a lot of veggies at home. Then for a family, it should be around $500. Like we're a family, and within those $500, you can have every weekend. You can have good amount of you know, a feast at home, and then the weekdays are usually regular, like eating veggies and, you know, all the regular pulses and everything. So it's pretty normal. And then $500 is a lot of money and enough for 3 people to have a good lavish food at home, all fruits, juices and everything. You don't have to worry, don't have to shell a single penny extra. This is just enough. Now guys, another big expense that you're looking at is your transit. Basically, if you are owning a car in Canada, it's going to be really expensive. Not because the price of the car is more, but because the insurance is really high on cars, especially based on the location that you're in. Now if you're located somewhere like a place in Brampton where accidents happen quite frequently because people are a little reckless in driving, but then if you're living at a pin code in Brampton, then you can expect your insurance to be a couple of $100 more, while you could be living in a place like Pickering or somewhere else where so I used to pay about $250 for my Honda in Pickering, and now I'm paying about $450 in Brampton, which is considerably higher. Not 450 but $350, which is considerably higher, and that is per month. So just have a thought on that, where you want to live in Canada or the city that you want to live. Now if you are a student, if you are living alone in Canada, you don't need a car. You can be living close to your place, your college, and you could be sharing that place with friends. So I've seen students not own a car. It is quite normal, and people actually use public transit. So what I think is that the bus passes, the monthly passes, you can get them for as cheap as $150. That is, that's a good amount to have. You can have maybe Peel City region and the other region transit passes with you for $150. That's more than enough. And then you could have a spare of $200 for all those Uber rides when you're actually late to work or maybe late to your exams, and you could take those rides. I've taken an average of 8 rides a month for Uber, and then I've just balanced it out to $200, and I think it's a good amount of money to spend on Uber. So you could obviously spend a lot less and rely more on your passes if you're punctual, but then I've still taken. So for a student, you're looking at a monthly expense of $350 end to end. Now for a couple, for the sake of calculation, I've taken that the couple is buying a used car, and the car could be as old as maybe a Chevy Cruze or a Hyundai Elantra, which would not cost you more than $250 a month on EMI. You could get that leased out with one of the local lenders here, and it's pretty easy as long as you have a study permit or a work permit. Lenders are quite open to accepting your applications and leasing out this car to you. Now on top of that, for a car like that, you can expect to have an insurance of about $200, which is not much. And if you're living in the right city, so let's say if you have the right experience, you're living in Mississauga, $200 is not bad. You should be looking at somewhere around $200 for insurance and $200 for your gas. So gas is pretty cheap. You would get that for around $1 per liter. And if you are looking to buy a new car, I put that in the bucket of family. Now a new car like mine, you could look at spending close to $425 a month. I'm paying a little more because this is a different model, but you could easily look at $425. Whereas if you're buying a car like a Hyundai or a Honda Civic or a Hyundai Elantra or something like that, you could be spending way lot less than this. This is the price for an SUV. Now you could be looking at $350 or maybe $325 a month for a smaller sedan, and which is totally worth it. Trust me, those cars are doing extremely well, and they are the most popular cars here in Canada. And also your insurance will depend on the type of car you're buying. Now if you're buying a Honda Civic, your insurance is going to be a lot more than if you're buying a Hyundai Elantra. That's just for example purpose. That's because and this is not a sponsored video. So this is the reason why is because Civic happens to be a really popular car, and since the percentage of people owning Civics are more, now when an accident happens, that is when the chances of a Civic getting into an accident are way more, right? Just because people are buying it a lot. So that way the calculations of the insurance company are based on probability of your car being a part of. That's how they make money, right? They're minting money only. So that way For a new car, your insurance could be as high as 225 if you're living at the right place, and then your gas is somewhere around $200. Now this is the basic expense. You have your housing, you have your transit, your car, and then you have your grocery, right? Now I'm going to show you how much that cost for each bucket if you're a student, couple, or a family. Now another big expense that you're looking at apart from your housing and the other things is your mobile phone. Mobile phones are really expensive in Canada. If you're looking at the internet, the unlimited internet packages which are 10 GB at high speed and more than that is $75, but you can get the right deal. I'm paying $35 to my network provider Fido. So both of us are paying $70 plus taxes for both the phones, as in 35, and then we get about 7 GB internet each, and then unlimited calling Canada wide, and I also get 1000 minutes to India. So that's a pretty solid deal. But I've still for calculation purposes I've taken $50 just in case you're not able to get the right deal. So $50 is decent. You could be spending about $50 for your mobile connection, and you know, for couple it's 100, and for family again it's 100 because your kid does not need a phone. The home internet for students, they're usually in sharing. They spend couple of bucks, or maybe the utilities include those internet, the Wi-Fi's at home. But then if not, you could be looking at about $20 a person for students. But if you have your own dedicated connection at home, you could be paying close to about $50 per household. Okay, now if you're a couple or a family, you could be paying about $50 for your Wi-Fi at home. Okay, so guys, other expenses could be your TV or your Netflix at home. For students, they're usually into sharing. So I've seen people share 5 accounts, just paying about 3 accounts, paying about $10. But for calculation sake, I've taken $10 in sharing for students. And if you are a couple, you must be paying about say $30 at the home. Maybe you could have a local TV box that's provided by the local retailers, or maybe you could have a Netflix subscription at home, or maybe an Amazon Video. For couples, you're looking at about $30. And then for entertainment, now entertainment is totally subjective. I would say entertainment is like your weekend visits, or maybe outing, or maybe watching a movie, maybe going for a drink with your buddy at work, or maybe with your friends at school, at college. So what I've done is for individuals, like for students, because they're on budget, like I said, all these calculations are for people who are struggling and on budget, right? Now for people who are struggling on budget, you can't expect them to go to 5-star and have a drink and then say, oh, I am struggling and on a budget, right? So for students, I've put it down to $200. For couples, put it down to $300, and for families about $350. This would also include your less than often trip, maybe a day trip somewhere, to maybe Niagara, or maybe to visit the local places around. So this is a good enough, a decent budget for you to move around. And then for students, $200 is decent. I've been on this budget for quite a lot of time during my previous stay, so I can vouch for this. This is totally valid and this is totally there, and I'm sure a lot of my viewers will agree. Now guys, if I put all of this together, it comes down to $1,430 for one person who's single, who's a student, $2,830 for a couple, and $3,480 for a family. Okay, now this figure, if I take it with respect to my basic earnings, like $14 an hour, I'll just do the quick math for you so that you know if the answer is yes or no. Now if for a student who's working 20 hours a week, he will be earning about $1,176. Okay, now on top of that, you get your GIC. A GIC is about $650, 667 to be precise, and a student takes home about $1,843 a month. Now the expense was $1,430, so the survival, yes, thumbs up to a single person who's in Canada as a student, or maybe as on a work permit, and who's living on basic survival mode. However, the reality is you make more than that, but we're just sticking to the reality. The reality on paper. Okay, now you make $1,843 and your expense is about $1,430. there's still a balance of about $400 which you can spend, maybe save. And then we must always remember that students do get 4 months of break where they end up making lot more money, and in fact covering for the tuition cost. Students work for about 60 hours a week when the break is on, and I am in touch with a lot of students and they can vouch for this. They do work double shifts also, while I've only taken 60 hours for calculation. For couples who are on basic salary working 40 hours a week, they would make about 2,352 per person. Two making 4,704, and the expense was 2,830. So survival, yes, thumbs up. Very easy. You are in fact saving about $1,900 after working here on survival mode, right? So totally possible. If you are a couple, if maybe you are here with your common law partner or spouse, both of you are open work permit, only working 40 hours, thumbs up, you are able to survive. Now for a family of 3, I'm just taking that one person is working for 60 hours and the other person is working for 40 hours. You end up making about $5,880. Okay, this is all calculation based on $14 an hour, and your expense is about 3,480. So you have a balance of about $2,000, more than that, left in your budget. Now if one is working for even 40 hours and the other one is also for 40 hours, even then you're making good amount of money, and the survival is definitely possible, right? So guys, in the end, my total answer, and I'm going to share all the calculations with you, is that it is definitely possible for you to survive while you're working on $14 an hour. Although that money will not be enough to have a lavish living, but I would say when you're on a survival mode or on a struggle mode, this money is more than enough, or at least bare minimum to survive. And once you gain more experience in Canada, once you are a Canadian, or maybe you get Canadianized with your habits and way of living, you definitely are going to be in a better shape. For students, you don't have to worry. With your GIC coming in and your 20 hours, you are very well able to make sure that, you know, while you're sharing stuff with your friends, rooms and expenses, you will be able to, you know, do better than survival. And during your break time that you'll have while you're studying, you will be able to, you know, make a lot more than your basic survival, and in fact try tuition some bit of your tuition cost. However, the government suggests that while you're here, you should not work for your tuition cost. You should get that from your home. So make sure that you have that, and then the money that you earn here additionally during the break, you can have that for your recreation and your entertainment outside. Alright, so guys, I hope today's video was helpful. I was able to cover all the biggest baskets of your expenses. I've been tracking my expenses on my cards and everything for the past couple of months, and all of this calculation is very well in sync with a couple of my friends as well. This is all true valid, and I hope you guys have your questions answered already today in this video. If you still have more questions, feel free to put them down in the comment section. I'll be happy to help you, and please be tuned in for the next videos coming up. Lot of good stuff coming your way and updates on Canadian immigration. My name is Sahil. Once again, thanks for watching. See you.